Good morning, everyone. This is Anthony, Wall Street Trader. It's 9:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. Happy Hump Day. Okay. Disclaiming, this is not financial advice. The video is intended for educational purposes only. Click the subscribe button and the bell if you want to be notified. And if you want Storj, which is this video, Storj to go up in viewership, as well as, getting people to understand the greatness of Storj, click that thumbs up. I think a lot of people would love to know more about this. Clicking that thumbs up would bring this video up to the top so that others will see the greatness of Storj. Now, intraday updates, if you want to hear about my intraday updates related to any kind of patterns I'm seeing, pattern recognition, where I think good entry points are, there's a Twitter link in the description below the video. Hit it. Okay, straight over to StorjUSD so that we're all very, very, very clear. I have once in the past and multiple times for other cryptos I cover, it's a very similar pattern across all. One is the altcoin relative to the US dollar. In our case, it's StorjUSD is equal to the inner strength of Storj, which is Storj relative to Bitcoin. And then I multiply it by the benchmark Bitcoin. The inner strength, I just want to harp on that for a second. Storj is a cryptocurrency. There's no gold standard in crypto other than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the gold standard, so we need to kind of compare it to something that's non-fiat, that is a gold standard, and that is crypto. And that would be Bitcoin. So Bitcoin measures up to being that benchmark, that benchmark for the crypto market. You look at gold. I mean, when people slow down investing in gold, it's because they're putting it into Bitcoin. So to me, Bitcoin is truly a native store of value. And this is why this equation works out. There's a mathematical equivalent one below. Mathematicians, eat your heart out. Let's move forward. Okay, so looking at StorjUSD, looking pretty, man. Last video we talked about us hitting $1.20, and we're already at $1.24 practically. This resistance line here is important. Why is the resistance line important? Well, because if we blow past it, that means we're in a really bullish pattern. It's a downward sloping resistance line, which means that, the force through it would be phenomenal. So we have this W looking pattern here, which is great. Looking like we're blowing past it. I would take a step of caution here because lines are meant to not be drawn exactly the way. Charts don't necessarily obey the charting lines that you draw, whether it's trend lines or flags or whatever. You have to be a little cautious with it. But that being said, we're seeing some really good momentum on this. If I look at the 1 day, certainly blew past it and now appearing to be potentially an upward ascending pennant, but we'll have to see how this plays out. In the meantime, let's take a look at Storj. So because I don't really know with 100%, I feel sort of bullish with Storj right now. But again, we have to be over this line for more than a day and a half, and we have to blow past it in earnest. So Storj Bitcoin, again, going back to this here. So we just looked at StorjUSD. Now let's get some clues around what we think this could turn into based on its underlying drivers. One is the inner strength, or Storj Bitcoin, right up here. So there's a trend line here. The trend is your friend until it's not. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a bullish pattern right here. The bullish pattern is the support line that kicked off sometime in June, third week of June, all the way up till including today, August 11th. Now, what do we have to watch for? We don't want to see us we don't want to go down, right? Last week we were kind of like hodling this line, or hugging the line, or maybe a little above. We went down, but then we swung back up again. So this feels like a really good support line. And if we come back down again, great. In fact, I don't own any Storj Bitcoin right now, but if it does come back down, I would be buying it. So if it comes back down to 25.46, I will be tweeting that out, and I'll take my first position in it. Now let's look at the other factor that could drive StorjUSD, and that's the benchmark Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Well, if you are subscribed to my Twitter, I had tweeted out this pennant formation, and I said if it passes, and by the way, we're not flying above it yet. I said if it passes this resistance line on the pennant, we should see 43,000, and that we did. So upon tweeting that, a few moments later, we wound up going up and up and up and up, and now we're 46,344, which is great because I think overall, there's some real momentum in Bitcoin. Now, if I drew this out right now from that pennant, I see that we're now, this is now kind of like a trend line here. Not only did this kick off the start of the trend, but now we're trending. And you can see multiple touch points, great support here. Fantastic level of support. We could be hitting another ascending triangle. Hard to say, but looking very good. Now, there's a green line over here. For those who don't watch my other videos on the other altcoins I cover, I repeatedly talk about the green line. What is the green line? About 3 or 4 months ago, I projected 80,000. And I projected 80,000 when we were up here, and I've maintained it even when we were down here. Now we have melted back up again. We're back on that green line. That green line is my target end of year projection based on this. What is this? Well, this is the support line that has kicked off from the bowels of COVID's start all the way to now. So it's been over since March of 2020. So that would be roughly almost a year and a half in the making. And we are certainly coming back on track. I think we hit 80,000. Other big research firms like Fundstrat, Tom Lee, who's a big research, very capable forecaster, is expecting 100,000. He's a reasonable person. I'm a reasonable person. I'm a little more conservative. So I'm going to call it at 80 as I see it on this chart. So it doesn't mean that we're going to end exactly at 80,000 at the end of the year, but it does mean that I think that between now and the end of the year, we should be hitting 80,000 at some point. Now, let's go over to Bitcoin dominance. Now, so that everyone understands, what is not included on this is the Bitcoin dominance pair. Bitcoin dominance gives you a barometer in terms of how the altcoin is faring relative to Bitcoin, right? So if you think about Bitcoin as as the gold standard, right? Bitcoin dominance is all it means is what is the market share of Bitcoin over the market share of the entirety of the crypto market, including all the altcoins. And it's 45.9% of all of the value of the crypto world is in Bitcoin. So it looks like a bearish pattern here, which means that the altcoin market stands to benefit relative to Bitcoin. But it also means that because Bitcoin's going up, all of the altcoin market simply must go up in its entirety. Now, you can kind of pick out the ones that you think will do better in the altcoin market, but I can tell you right now, I think the ones that are going to be sticking around for the long term and out of the crosshairs of regulators are going to be those platform utility companies. And by platform utility companies, I'm talking about Storj, I'm talking about NewCipher, I'm talking about RLC, I'm talking about the Graph. And these are all tools that developers use to help develop out their systems. It's different than DeFi. There's certain DeFi, those are more application driven. So DeFi apps use these platform utilities to create their platforms. So I look at the tool set part of the world as the place to put your money. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not a rocket scientist, and I'm not the Esmeralda with a crystal ball. Now, let's just take a quick look real quick on what Storj is, because I think everyone should understand what it is. Number one, it is a decentralized file system where they'll take your file and they'll encrypt it, they'll shred it up, and they'll kind of blast it across the world, right? So your file gets split to 80 pieces in multiple countries, different operators, power supplies, geographies, etc. So it's very important that you understand that. Now, these are globally distributed, so it's impossible for one person to know where the other constituent parts are of your file in order to piece it back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. But these guys do it, and they do it well. not only are they able to pull it back together, but they don't need, like, if a node goes out, you still have, multiple nodes that are still operating, and they're incentivized to operate through staking. So effectively, all they really need is 29 of those pieces in order to put your file back together again. And I think it also helps with recovery. Think about Google's Drive, and then you've got OneDrive from Microsoft. Those are centralized. Infrastructure. So if you put a file up there, it's centralizing. It's not splitting it out into multiple pieces all across the world under different owners. So I think that it has a lot of redundancy and much more so recovery of things. So if the centralized cloud in Google and Microsoft goes down, those guys don't have a shot. But with Storj, you definitely have, there's no concern with that there. Anyway, I think that Storj is a great play. But anyway, I'm out, and things are looking real spicy in Storj land. Take it easy.